Good morning, everyone. I hope you are enjoying a great week. We certainly appreciate you spending part of your morning with us for the Fast Chat. I am Rochelle Thomas, Energy Manager with the San Joaquin Valley Clean Energy Organization, SJVCEO, and we are here with the Fund It Fast Chat every second Tuesday of the month. We work really hard to bring you financing and project information in a way that works best for your schedule. Fast. Before I dive in, we've got to do our housekeeping. All of your microphones were muted upon joining the call. If you have any questions at all, please go ahead and submit them through the chat box. You can do that at any point during the presentation. I highly encourage you to submit your questions as soon as you think of them, because if you're anything like me, you will forget. We'll be sure to designate some time at the end to address those questions. If you do submit a question and if for any reason we aren't able to get to it, for example, we may need to do some additional research or we may just run out of time, be sure to keep a lookout for our follow-up email. We will provide responses to any unanswered questions, a link to the recording of this presentation, as well as any other resources that we discuss during the call. Deal? Okay, let's jump in. Having done the Fund It Fast Chat now for a couple of years, I felt like we would be remiss if we didn't cover EPIC grant funding as a topic. The EPIC program is administered by the California Energy Commission, or CEC, as well as California's electric IOUs, PG&E, Southern California Edison, and SDG&E, in an effort to decarbonize California's electricity sector and help the state meet its climate goals. So the goals specifically are to provide funding to, 1, expand the use of renewable energy, 2, build a safe and resilient electricity system, 3, advance electric technologies for buildings, businesses, and transportation, 4, enable more decentralized electric grid, 5, improve the affordability, health, and comfort of California's communities, and finally, to support California's local economies and businesses. So EPIC's annual investment to support these goals is over $162 million annually. The CEC administers the lion's share of those funds, and they place a very heavy emphasis on diversity in the energy sector. They have a goal of 25% of the funding to be allocated to sites located in and benefiting disadvantaged communities, or DACs, and an additional 10% allocated to sites located in and benefiting low-income communities. I would also like to add the very small caveat that although this program is focused on electric-driven projects, there can be gas applications. One of our friends at Southern California Gas Company asked about this recently, and I have a pretty cool example that I will talk about a bit later in the presentation. So let's talk about project categories. So the 3 categories are applied research and development, technology demonstration and deployment, and market facilitation. So I'll talk a little bit about what each of those entail. So applied research and development focuses on validating new ideas and technologies. So these are projects that are designed to solve specific problems in the electricity sector and are pre-commercial or emerging ideas and technologies. So think of pilot demonstrations as an example of this. These will test the design and validity of a certain approach. Second, we have technology demonstration and deployment. This demonstrates the strategies at real-world scale. So this is somewhat of an extension of applied research and development, but these types of projects would focus on the scalability of new and emergent ideas and technologies. So The key thing to remember here is performance and cost effectiveness. And finally, market facilitation. This addresses non-technical hurdles like policy, market, workforce barriers, and so on. So this really is meant to prove that certain solutions can achieve accelerated deployment. So, in short, think about eliminating barriers or being able to demonstrate eliminating barriers. So, really quickly, the EPIC program is not at all new. It was originally set to span from 2012 through 2020. So, technically, this is the last year of the program. However, I would like to point out that there have been requests in regulatory filings out there to extend this program beyond 2020 so as not to disrupt innovation. Also, there are a number of solicitations for 2020, and there may be more as the year progresses. So it's still kind of early in the year. My point is, if there aren't any solicitations that interest you in the current year, don't write off the program just yet. Like we like to say, it ain't over till it's over. So I will give you some information in the follow-up email that'll help you stay up to date on what the EPIC program is up to. So, funding opportunities that are on the menu for 2020 so far, and I just made a really short list here. This is not an exhaustive list at all. Um, but current available solicitations are in the energy research and development category, as we discussed a couple slides ago. Um, so we have validating the capacity of second life batteries for small and medium sized commercial buildings. We have assessing long duration energy storage deployment scenarios, decarbonizing healthcare and large buildings, and demonstrating long duration and Title 24 compatible energy storage technologies. So I just quickly listed off four. As I said, it's not an exhaustive list, but I wanted to give you an idea of projects that are possible through this grant program for 2020 and hopefully spark your curiosity to see if anything aligns with a project you want to do, or you may want to partner with another organization to go after this opportunity. So there's a lot of possibilities. So let's talk about a typical timeline cycle here. This is a very general timeline. You can actually find this on the website as well. So I thought I would talk to some of the main events in the process so you can get an idea of the flow. So I have here day one. We count the solicitation release as day one in the process. The solicitation release is done through the CEC's communication channels. If you would like to be notified each time a new solicitation is released, you can subscribe to the listserv, and I'll provide a link for that in our follow-up email that we send out after the call. Second, which occurs about 2 weeks into the process, there will be an application workshop. These workshops are done in person with a teleconference option. However, I do encourage people to attend in person if at all possible. And I say that because these workshops are an excellent way to get additional information that may not be apparent in the solicitation materials. These workshops are also a great way to network with other agencies that can share ideas or become potential project partners. So that's always a good thing. If you're unable to make it, but you are still interested, don't hesitate to reach out to SJV CEO. We're happy to attend on your behalf. That's what we're here for. Next and third, um, the questions and answers from the workshop are are posted so all potential awardees can reference them. So adding to that, if any addendum to the original solicitation is needed, sometimes questions can bring about topics that may have been overlooked when the solicitation was being drafted. The updated version of that solicitation will also be made available at this time. The application due date is generally about 6 to 8 weeks after the solicitation release. Screening and scoring of those applications generally takes about 2 to 4 months, after which the notice of proposed award is released, or NOPA, is what it's called for short. So, in summary, from the time the solicitation is released to the time agreements are finalized, you're looking at close to a year's time. So, about 9 to 10 months for the whole application process. Finally, I would like to talk about some projects that have been awarded through EPIC in recent years so you can get an idea of what these grant projects can look like and their size and their scale. The first project example I have was completed in the East Bay area region, serving communities in Oakland, Santa Rosa, and in Vista, California. The grant award was $3.2 million with co-funding of $646,000 to support wastewater recovery for on-site reuse and energy savings. So this is an industrial scale wastewater treatment system project designed to save money, reduce wastewater volumes, and generate pure water streams for on-site reuse. Now, treating industrial wastewater is problematic because it contains high levels of dissolved and suspended solids, which renders most low-cost treatment methods ineffectual. The solution proposed by this project here is an advanced wastewater treatment technology called the PFO recycler. And this technology produces high quality water while reducing energy, chemical, and maintenance required for treatment of industrial wastewaters. This project team consisted of Porifera Incorporated, Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory, CDM Smith Incorporated, Jackson Family Wines, and Eric Nichols, all as subcontractors. The next example I have here is a project that was completed in Fremont, California. The project team consisted of the City of Fremont, Gridscape Solutions Incorporated, Delta Products Corporation, and Microgrid Energy. This project sought to resolve the issue of resiliency in emergency services by installing microgrids. The City of Fremont Fire Station microgrids manage local clean energy resources for greater reliability. So, taking into consideration the changing climate in California and increasing prevalence of wildfires, severe storms, and heat waves, critical facilities are especially vulnerable to power outages. So, this project was developed as a solution to that issue. The grant award amount was 1.8 million, and the matching or co-funding amount was 657,000. The fire station microgrids provide at least 3 hours a day of electricity to critical loads during utility power outages. All right, the last project I would like to highlight was actually done in partnership with Southern California Gas Company. SoCal Gas was actually the awardee for this grant. The project was dairy waste to bioenergy via the integration of concentrating solar power and high temperature conversion process, which is a mouthful of very technical terms. But the concept of dairy waste to bioenergy has a lot of opportunities, here in the Valley. We have no shortage of dairy waste. The total grant award was just under 1.5 million, and the co-funding amount was 600,000. So this project sought out to solve the issue this project sought out to solve, is the lack of ability to dispatch renewable energy resources on demand instead of upon production. So this is partly due to the intermittent nature of many renewable energy sources, and also the cost and capacity of traditional forms of energy storage or participation in electricity markets. This project's goal was to integrate concentrating solar power, or CSP, and hydrothermal processing, or HTP, into a single integrated system. So by converting dairy manure into renewable natural gas and biocrude, getting a little tongue tied here. Greenhouse gas emissions typically associated with manure can be avoided. Another benefit is lower cost. So it was estimated that this production method of renewable energy would cost just under 7 cents per kWh, which is considerably cheaper than comparable renewable resources. Now it's the last project that I have to highlight here. I'm going to move on to questions, and take a quick look and talk really slowly. Take a quick look at the chat box. Go ahead and submit your questions if you have any, as soon as you can. Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat box. If anything does come to mind, you know how to find us. Oops, there we go. You know how to find us. So as always, we really appreciate you being here with us this morning. Please look out for a follow-up email later on today that will contain all of the resources that we talked about during the fast chat. If any of these project types pique your interest, oh, I do see a question here. I'm going to pause and go to the question. Pam Bold asks, do you need to have a feasibility study completed before application process? That is a really good question. I didn't see anything like that in the literature, but I will definitely follow up on that just to double, triple check for you, Pam. Thank you so much for the question. Okay. All right, so I'll go ahead and wrap us up. Again, if any of these projects pique your interest, I highly encourage you to let us know as soon as possible. Deadlines for the 2020 solicitations are very quickly approaching, so you got to hop on those really quickly. We also invite you to connect with us on social media. We are now on Instagram and Twitter. We can also connect through email or on our website. Our sole purpose is to connect you with resources that will help you get your projects done. I encourage everyone listening to please share the fast chat with your friends and colleagues. If you know anyone who might benefit from this information, or even you never know how this information might inspire ideas for new projects. Our next fast chat is on the calendar for April 14th at 10 a.m. We will announce the topic very soon. In the meantime, if you would like to listen to any of our past fast chats, you can find them at sjvcleanenergy.org. Once again, that's sjvcleanenergy.org under the resources heading. Thank you so much, everyone, and I hope you have an awesome week.